Fugitive former leader of Ethiopia's Tigray region speaks out after months in hiding. World Health Organization criticizes EU over vaccine nationalism. And Libya's warring factions move one step closer to peace deal. Hello and welcome to teleSUR. I'm Doris Polo in Quito, Ecuador, and this is From the South. The fugitive leader of Ethiopia's embattled Tigray region has reportedly made his first public comments in 3 months, urging the international community to investigate alleged genocide and other abuses by forces including those from neighboring Eritrea. It was not immediately possible to verify the audio comments by Debretsion Gebremichael, posted late Saturday by a Tigray-allied media outlet. According to the audio file, the fugitive leader urged Tigray residents to continue the struggle. He has been on the run since fighting broke out in early November between government troops and the Tigray People's Liberation Front. The African Union has secured an additional 400 million doses of the AstraZeneca coronavirus vaccine from the Serum Institute of India for its members. John Nkengasong, the continental body's director of health, noted that this is in addition to the 270 million previously secured. The move is part of the bloc's efforts to vaccinate at least 60% of its population by 2022. In an address to the World Economic Forum on Thursday, AU Chair Cyril Ramaphosa accused rich nations of bulk buying vaccines to the detriment of poor nations. Now, the European Union has been widely criticized for its decision to place export controls on COVID-19 vaccines produced within the bloc. The World Health Organization slammed the decision it said would potentially jeopardize the fight against the virus. The EU introduced the measure on Friday amid a row with vaccine manufacturers over delivery shortfalls. The set of controls are poised to affect about 100 countries worldwide, including the United Kingdom, United States, Canada, and Australia. Well, the first batch of COVID-19 vaccines that South Africa ordered from India's Serum Institute are set to arrive in the country on the 1st of February. South Africa has been the worst hit by the pandemic on the African continent, with more than 1.4 million COVID-19 cases reported so far. The country saw a big surge in infections earlier this month, driven by a new, more contagious variant of the virus. There is hope, however, as 1 million doses of the life-saving vaccine are en route from Mumbai. Another batch of 500,000 doses is expected in the latter half of February. Meanwhile, Egypt will receive its first set of AstraZeneca vaccines procured by the government on Sunday. Last week, the health ministry announced it had ordered 20 million doses of the jab. This will be the second immunization shot the country has received. In December, it acquired China's Sinopharm vaccine. Egypt has so far recorded 165,000 COVID-19 cases and more than 9,200 deaths. Algeria has started rolling out COVID-19 vaccines in the city of Blida, where the country's first case was reported in early 2020. Vaccination priority will be given to medical staff dealing with COVID-19 patients, the elderly, and those with chronic or immunity diseases. The North African nation received its first batch of vaccines on Friday at the Boufarik military airport west of the capital Algiers. Locally, COVID-19 cases rose to more than 106,000 on Wednesday, with a death toll of 2,877. Shifting gears now, Libya's warring factions who are participating in United Nations facilitated peace talks have approved a list of candidates seeking to lead a transitional government. The list was unveiled by the UN support mission in the country. Representatives will vote next week for 3 presidential councillors and a prime minister from the approved candidates. The interim government will then start preparing for national elections scheduled for the end of 2021.
The teams from the House of Representatives and the state met for 2 days on January 22 to 23, 2021 in Bosnia, on the outskirts of the capital, Rabat. During this meeting, it was reviewed what had been previously approved. In Article 15 of the Libyan political agreement, signed in Skhirat on December 17, 2015. After constructive dialogue, it was agreed to form and appoint sub-working groups to take procedural measures concerning the appointments of the following sovereign posts: the head of the Administrative Control Authority and his deputy, the head of the Accounting Office and his deputy, the head of the Anti-Corruption Commission and his deputy, and the head and members of the Libyan High Electoral Commission.
We'll take a short break now. Don't go away. Welcome back. The fighting between a coalition of rebel groups and government forces in the Central African Republic has displaced more than 200,000 people. According to the UN Refugee Agency, nearly half of the displaced have crossed the border into makeshift refugee camps in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The agency added that the asylum seekers are living in dreadful conditions in camps that do not have running water and other basic necessities. The fighting between the two sides was sparked by a court decision to ban former President Francois Bozize from running in the December 27th polls, in which Faustin Archange Touadera was declared the winner.
There was conflict back home in Bangassou. We had to flee because of that conflict and come and find refuge here.
Hundreds of Tunisians have marched in the capital, Tunis, to protest against police abuses they say are endangering freedoms won in the 2011 revolution that swept away authoritarian rule. Hundreds of riot police confronted the demonstrators, leading to scuffles. Some protesters threw bottles, while police struck some demonstrators with batons. There have been nearly daily protests since mid-January, marking the anniversary of the revolution that sparked uprisings across the region in 2011, known as the Arab Spring. A court in the Netherlands has ordered oil giant Royal Dutch Shell to compensate Nigerian farmers over oil pollution in the Niger Delta. The judgment brought an end to a 13-year legal battle between Shell and 4 Nigerian farmers who accused it of causing widespread pollution in their villages. The court ruled that the company must pay for the spills and install a new pipeline to prevent further incidents. The amount of damages to be paid will be determined by the court at a later date. The case has dragged on so long that 2 of the farmers have since died.
I agree, it's fantastic news. My clients have been struggling and waiting for this for a very long time, so it's very satisfying that we've reached this point. I do hope that they will actually get some compensation soon, because of course it's taken too long already. It's really very important decision that the court has made to confirm that there is a responsibility for a parent company here in Nigeria, where so many spills have occurred, and the parent company should have taken responsibility and ensure that the leak detection systems are in place. And I think that's a very important signal for Shell and also for other oil companies.
In other news, Portugal has closed its borders with Spain effective midnight January 31st to stop the spread of COVID-19. Citizens will also not be able to travel abroad except in special cases for the next 2 weeks.
This will last until February 14th at 11:59 p.m. Before the closure, there was some movement in the border area, but at the moment it is quieter, and there is not too much traffic along the border. I assume that people are paying attention to the border controls and respecting the restrictions imposed in the country.
Tougher restrictions have been reimposed in the Greek capital Athens after the city recorded a spike in COVID-19 cases. Most retail shops in Athens have been ordered to close, and high schools, which were supposed to open on Monday, have been limited to the first 3 grades, while older students will continue learning through online classes. The country has so far recorded 155,000 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 5,764 deaths. Germany has imposed a partial ban on travelers entering the country from nations when new variants of the coronavirus have spread widely. The new ban affects travelers from Britain, Ireland, Portugal, South Africa and Brazil and will be valid until February 17th.
Since midnight tonight, there is a new coronavirus safety measure. The federal police is under order to check the travel ban on flights from the so-called virus variant areas. These are the 5 countries at present: Britain, Ireland, Portugal, South Africa, and Brazil. We are checking the travel ban, which means no travelers from these countries are allowed to enter Germany.
France's Prime Minister Jean Castex has said his government will apply strong punitive measures against individuals that are violating the restrictions put in place to curb the spread of the novel coronavirus.
Police and joint arms will be mobilized to monitor the non-respect of the curfew, the organization of clandestine parties and illegal opening of restaurants to a great extent. The excesses of a few will not be able to ruin the efforts of all. An instruction of particular firmness will therefore be applied to those who defraud the rules in force. Together we have made our best effort to speed up the vaccination, and tonight nearly 1.5 million French people received their first injection. Our duty is to do everything we can to avoid further confinement, and the next few days will be decisive.
Renowned Chinese health specialist Zhang Nanshan has said he is hopeful the United States can deepen cooperation with his country in the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic, as the Joe Biden administration now looks to take control over its domestic crisis. Zhang, who received China's highest state medal, the Medal of the Republic, in recognition of his outstanding contribution to the fight against COVID-19, said he's more optimistic about the U.S. strategy in the battle against the virus under the new administration. Zhang also stated he's looking forward to an opportunity to exchange views with top U.S. infectious disease expert Anthony Fauci at a special online event organized by the University of Edinburgh on March 2nd.
If the epidemic situation in the United States improves, it will be good for the country and the world and the U.S.-China relationships. I'm looking forward to exchange between scholars from both countries. I think the insight of Antoine Fauci are very similar to mine, so I'm looking forward to an opportunity to exchange views with him.
Vietnam's ruling Communist Party chief Nguyen Phu Trong has been re-elected for a third 5-year term as the Asian nation battles its biggest coronavirus outbreak since the pandemic began. Trong's re-election as party general secretary came at a 5-yearly party congress in Hanoi, where over 1,000 party delegates from across Vietnam are concluding 8 days of meetings to pick a new leadership team. But Trong's win was overshadowed by a new COVID-19 outbreak that has infected at least 221 people and spread to at least 8 cities and provinces in the country, including the capital, Hanoi. The Ministry of Health reported 14 new COVID-19 infections early on Sunday, bringing the total number of cases in the country to 1,781, with 35 deaths. We have more stories coming up. Stay where you are. Welcome back. Jamaica's former Prime Minister Bruce Golding is said to be resting at home after being involved in a car accident in Old Harbour, St. Catherine on Friday. In a statement, his daughter, Senator Shireen Golding Campbell, said neither her father nor the occupants of the other vehicle involved in the crash appeared to be injured. She added that her dad appreciated the expressions of concern. The former Prime Minister led the country as head of the Jamaica Labour Party from 2007 to 2011 until he resigned.
Perhaps most importantly,
the Tobago House of Assembly remains at an impasse after the elections on January 25th saw a 6-6 tie between the Progressive Democratic Patriots and Tobago People's National Movement Council. After the swearing-in of the 12 assemblymen on Thursday, 2 separate presiding officers were nominated by both parties, resulting in a tie on 2 occasions. With no executive in place, the Tobago PNM Council wants new elections, while the PDP is taking legal action on Monday. They hope to ask the court's permission for an interpretation of the law and procedures to be followed with a view to ending the stalemate. Continuing with Caribbean news, at least 10 people in Cuba have been killed when a bus crashed on a highway. The bus was transporting teachers on a highway between the capital Havana and the neighboring province of Mayabeque when the driver lost control of the vehicle and it flipped over. At least 24 people were injured as well and are now being treated in nearby hospitals. Authorities have launched an investigation into the cause of the accident.
25 patients have been to the hospitals, Aleida Fernandez and Leopoldito Martinez. Of these patients, 2 are children, who were sent to the Juan Manuel Marquez Pediatric Hospital in Havana. They are already in the hospital, in a stable condition. The patients are being cared for, they are being hospitalized, and everything that is necessary in order to save the life of each one of them is, of course, available in each of our hospital networks.
A fire has broken out at a Brazilian stadium that hosted World Cup games in 2014. The blaze at Castelao Arena in the northeastern city of Fortaleza has caused damage and left some people suffering from smoke inhalation. According to the fire department, it was apparently sparked by a short circuit in the broadcast area. It wasn't immediately clear how many people needed medical assistance. In the United States, a massive fire engulfed a northern New Jersey recycling plant. The blaze broke out around Friday midnight at the Atlantic Coast Fibers plant in Passaic. Officials have warned that the plant could burn for days. The mayor of Passaic said that there were at least 2 explosions, one involving a truck with gas tanks on it. Now, authorities fear the flames could spread to a nearby chemical factory.
The other concern are pocket fires because of embers and the fire that's actually traveling around the area. So we remind you to please keep your windows closed. But if you see instances of fire in the area, call immediately 911 and let us know. We had difficulty with water pressure, obviously with temperatures, with exhaustion for our firefighters. You can see right behind me how this is continuing to spread right here.
With that, we've come to the end of this news brief. You can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. Now, for our viewers in Africa, remember you can find us on StarSat channel 461 in South Africa and channel 539 in Nigeria. And join us on social media for TeleSUR English. I am Doris Polo. Thanks for watching.